All right.
All right. Episode 18, Offensive, with the most infamous guest we've had, anybody's had on this network, Andrew Weev Auernheimer. Am I saying that correctly?
Auernheimer, yes. Pretty close.
Auernheimer. We are here
Yeah.
with the infamous hacker, troll, whatever you want to call him, wrongfully accused man, fresh out of prison recently in the last few years. Weev. I'm sure most of you might know who he is. Weev, I was surprised to see that you were from Arkansas originally. That threw me off.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm from Fayetteville.
Yeah,
Right outside of Fayetteville, Siloam
you
Springs.
you don't
Yeah.
seem like an Arkansas guy for some reason.
Oh, you just don't mow me when I'm drunk enough, man. I'm a good Southern boy.
You a good
I
old
love my home
boy.
state.
Maybe that's where all your conservative
Good old,
values come
yeah,
from, dude. It's that good old boy attitude.
yeah. I suppose living in the Ozarks and in Missouri, I absorbed a lot of cultural values by osmosis. But
Yeah,
I love where I'm from. I do the hog call like everybody else. I love my state and I love my people. And
yeah,
it's a huge part of who I am to be. I'm from the Ozarks. I consider myself Carl. I don't even consider myself Arkansan because so much of Arkansas is kind of just not, it doesn't share any kind of thing with the Ozarks. We actually have our own dialect of English. Like Ozark English is different from what the rest of
really.
the state speaks. Yeah, so it's like there's a big cultural divide between the Ozarks. I share a lot in common with somebody from the Ozarks in Missouri. I share very little with culturally or politically with somebody from Little Rock. So
Oh yeah, I was gonna say just like a dumb hick from Little Rock. I've met like two guys from
uh,
Arkansas, and they're pretty
I mean,
stereotypical.
yeah, I mean, I like, I wouldn't say that everybody outside of the Ozarks is dumb hicks. It's just a big cultural divide, and Little Rock is really bad because it's mostly a black city now. It's
Is
not
it?
really
Yeah.
it's not a white city anymore. So but if you
You,
go down to Texarkana or something, that's it's a totally different culture than where I'm from.
Yeah, your fellow Arkansan, Bryce Mitchell, I appreciate. He's a UFC fighter. He used his post-win press conference to basically talk shit about putting masks on kids, and we didn't vote for none of this shit. And he told the governor of Arkansas, he's like, you won't do this shit? He's like, go California. They love you there. They'll love you there. He was fucking great, dude. He was basically like,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
masks on kids. We didn't vote for it. And if these masks work so well, then you fucking wear one. You should be fine, right? If they work so well, why the fuck do I have
Yeah,
to? The guy was great. I think his name's Bryce Mitchell. Shout out to him.
yeah. Stand-up guy. I appreciate that too. I mean,
So, so the reason we're
this
doing this
stuff is
so early
crazy.
is there's a huge time difference. Weave is hours and hours ahead somewhere in Slavic country in an undisclosed location. Are you basically on like the level of, I mean, maybe not as much, but like a Snowden or something like that, where are you not allowed to come back? Like, what's the deal with that?
I wouldn't think it was a good idea to come back. I mean, they falsely charged me with a crime in retaliation for my lawful political speech, and like nothing really happened to them as a result, right? Like there's the same attorneys. Paul Fishman is still a U.S. attorney. Last time I checked, Judge Susan D. Wigginton, my judge, is still a judge. All these people are still, relatively in the positions that they were before I was prosecuted, and really there's been very little structural changes. I mean, Trump has cleared a lot of people out, but the U.S. attorneys, they kind of vacate when they please a lot of the time, and the judges are lifetime appointments. So it's like
Yeah.
everybody, all of my enemies still are there, right? Like it's not
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it's not like they can't just charge me with another bullshit crime ad infinitum, and until they're killed or the country is conquered,
That's
there's
pretty much it. Yeah, like you said, is that
not
it's
really a lot of difference for me.
yeah. So like you don't think that they would the second you stepped on soil, they charge you with some bullshit, but you like you said, you couldn't go about your business basically without these enemies
Yeah,
coming back at you.
I I I'm not sure. I think they would charge me with bullshit pretty much
Probably.
instantaneously if they heard I was back in U.S. Because I mean, I went to prison on false charges as a result of lawful political speech, and then upon getting out of jail, like out of principle, I have to make that lawful political speech even more, right? Like
Yeah.
I have to compound it. I have a moral obligation to protect the First Amendment and everybody's rights, have a moral obligation to kind of accelerate that and do more for that. So so yeah, if I was punished for this once and I've continued to do that same exact thing, like it logically follows that I would be prosecuted once more. There's no doubt about
it's
it.
It's unfucking believable, dude. I mean, the First Amendment's pretty fucking cut and dry. You know what I mean? If for people to debate that or say this isn't free speech or this is, it's fucking insane to me, dude. And it's that great quote where it's like, I may not like what you have to say, but I'll die for your right to say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's all about power now.
For sure.
It's just there's nobody making any kind of defense of these rights. So there's nobody really has them anymore. It's they end run about it by letting billionaires just buy up kind of the public common square. That's not in line with our historical jurisprudence either. It's a private company, so they can kind of do what they want with you.
Yeah.
For example, Marsh v. Alabama is a great case on this. It's a former Supreme Court case where there was a private company town, and someone was using the sidewalks in this private company town to proselytize, and the company town, had them arrested or whatnot and kicked them off. And they said, well, they made the same argument that they're doing today. It's like, well, I own the street. Like I get to say what happens on the street that I own. And it turns out not so much. It was the historical argument. It's changed. They decided that didn't apply to the internet for some reason. It could have been idiocy. I mean, these precedents were formed when over cases that involve CompuServe. That's how old they are. And
holy shit, I forgot that was a thing until you just said that. Holy fuck.
Yeah. So that was when these decisions were made that the internet chat room or whatever is not the public square. And I think it might have been reasonable to say that CompuServe is not the public square, but obviously Facebook and Twitter, they have a lot more intrusion into the lives of people and their ability to communicate. It's very clear that these companies are the public square, and that they need to be nationalized to a degree where if they violate anybody's constitutional rights, they need to be criminally prosecuted for conspiracy against civil rights, which is a federal crime. But there's really no prosecutors to make that case, and there's no extra legal forces that make that case in lieu of legal resolution. So for the time being, we have no First Amendment rights.
It's fucking bananas. It's scary, man. And like you said, like I do agree, like to an extent, okay, it's a private company, they can do what they want. But when you get so big, like a Twitter, a Facebook, an Instagram, it, like you said, it becomes public. And it's kind of a weird gray area. And they have so many billions and billions of dollars to fight against them, being prosecuted or what's it called? Like just fought back in any way at all. They can literally do anything with impunity on their platforms. What's that thing? Article 230 they're trying to repeal or about making them liable, basically making them a publisher. It's like, dude, okay, if you're going to kick people off, then you're liable for everything you say that's said on your platform.
I don't think that does anything to restore free speech. Like, it's not like there's no universe where you say, something objectionable, where you say a racial slur and Facebook bans you. There's no universe in which 230 is repealed in which they're going to be held liable by any jury somewhere for that. Like, that's not the path, and it's just, the people thinking about this are very much misunderstanding. What useful things are going to come out of 230 is, you could see, like if 230 is repealed, which I don't think it is in a Biden administration. I don't think 230 is on the table. But if it was, like, it would be a lot of edge cases where it would make differences in publishers and their ability to shield themselves from retribution. I could see, like, it being used against Pornhub and other, other porn, like UGC upload based sites. Like, I could really see them being held liable, but I don't really see much coming in the way of. And in fact, I think it would increase censorship. I think repealing 230 would increase private censorship because publishers would be, it would give them excuses to moderate even more, and it would just like be like, well, now that we're liable for posts, like why would we let anything stay on Facebook?
True.
But they're already so censorious. I don't really see them changing.
Yeah, how much
Facebook
worse could it
already
get?
takes down
Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, literally.
It's like I don't see much of an end effect here in terms of.
Yeah, the only way it could get worse than it is now onto the Facebooks and Twitter is like, oh, you can't even swear anymore. That's like the only thing, because the littlest things that go against their status quo, it's like bang gone, bang has a tag on it that it's disputed, which is fucking insane to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They need to break up this fucking technocracy because it's getting real dystopian really fast.
I mean, there's just no way to break it up. I mean, that's I'm not a believer in Ludites or Kaczynski, because I don't think that you can roll back the clock on technology. Like, this has been marching forward for centuries, for millennia, and there's just no outcome where people are gonna like it's like an irreversible alternative society, right? So it's like saying that, like, well, we got to do something about this, the state of affairs is like, we got to break up the technocracy, is like, it's delusional in the same way that libertarians are delusional, and that you're like you have to acknowledge that these changes to society are largely irreversible, and the only way to like really change things is you just got to seize the Leviathan, right? You can't kill the Leviathan. You can't reason with it. You can only climb on top of it and take the reins and like tell it where to fucking go. That's all you can do.
Yeah, it's pretty much, and we're at the point where it's like, what the fuck are you gonna do, man? What is one guy like me or you or whoever gonna fucking do against this absolute behemoth of a machine? Everything, the media, the social media, all of it. It's kind of fucking, it bums me out, dude. Bums me out big time.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like, I don't know. I mean, the old Ted Kaczynski, he had some good ideas, man. But like you said, you're probably right that it's way past the point of return at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's not past the point of return, but like, you got to acknowledge that that you can't engage in wishful thinking, right? You got to be purely pragmatic. And the idea that that we can regulate technology away, that we can somehow control it. No, we need to use it, and we need to use it asymmetrically to accomplish our political goals, and it's the only real way to go around it.
Yeah. So you grew up. I want to get into your fucking story, because I'm sure not everyone knows the exact story. I remember the first time I saw you was on. I believe I told you this. I think it was an anonymous documentary, probably like 6 years ago or something. You did some interviews on it. Like, you did some little, where they put the camera on you and you make some commentary about it. Were you ever affiliated with them at all, or no?
I mean, I guess so.
Kind of.
I mean, and that I posted on 4chan anonymously for years.
Yeah, I was an anon. So you grew up in Arkansas. When did you start getting into all this shit, man? All the hacking and all the ideals that you hold today. How old were you?
I don't know. I was under 10.
Damn.
Like the first time I like broke a piece of software. I like to play MUDs when I was a kid. These like ancient text-based role-playing games. Where you actually like type out words as commands, right? And I found this MUD and it had an integer underflow in the character creation process, where you could type -1 and it would come in with like a specific statistic at 255, right?
Yeah.
And so I found this integer underflow, and then I scripted it. I made a script in Emacs to create a character with this, this super overpowered character that can kill everybody in the game, kill everybody online, delete the character, and then recreate a character with an identical name. Because I looked at the source code of this thing, I figured out, it's if you create a character with the same name, it'll overwrite, and then they'll never figure out. It took them weeks to figure out, and I killed the entire player base of this month. People just stopped playing. You
were just the World of Warcraft South Park guy, where he just runs around killing everybody.
Yeah, it was fun to just like totally ruin this game, and I'm like, that was
fucking up people's days, dude. You probably were. You were probably with a cause for many broken fucking keyboards and mouses, dude. People freaking the fuck out. Was this like a RuneScape style game? Was it like kind of just like run around with your character? I'm sure it was. It's old.
Yeah.
It's got to be something
So
like that. So early. So
yeah,
fucking a young buck got into it, and then
yeah.
hold on, let me go through this here. The first thing that came up in your early hacking was you claimed responsibility for the reclassification of many books on gay issues as pornography on Amazon in 2009. That's what old Wikipedia's got you as.
Yeah.
Amazon says you weren't responsible.
Feature.
They claim you're not responsible, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, there's like a thing that you could report books on Amazon, you know, as inappropriate, you know, and that was like if it caught like if a certain number of people flagged the product, it would disappear, you know.
Yeah.
And it was XSRFable, so you could embed like a request to this function in an iframe, and you know I have, you know, big websites. So I've always been systems for pretty big websites, and so I had a lot of traffic, right? I had millions of people.
You had the autistic army behind you, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's just random internet users.
True.
Autistic army. They're just they don't even know they're participating, right? As they visit my websites, they're actually making requests on this form. Some percentage of them log into Amazon and flag their product. They don't even know that they're participating. You know?
Holy shit, that's fucking sick, dude.
Yeah. So suddenly gay stuff starts disappearing. It gets you know, removed from the search index so kids don't stumble upon it. Pretty soon,
it's not a bad thing, man.
Or you search Amazon you search Amazon for gay, and it's all like Christian stuff, you know. That's rehabilitating.
So it's just the Bible replaces every single fucking gay book. Did you mean the Bible?
Gay stuff.
Well, yeah. So then your Wikipedia is amazing, dude. Just I don't know who the fuck wrote this or edits it. Also claimed to be the owner of a Rolls-Royce Phantom. True or false?
Oh, that's false. That's false.
Just fucking around.
No. I used to date this girl, and she was super rich.
Yeah.
And she had a Lambo, and her dad had a Lambo, and I crashed her dad's Lambo. I'm like, baby, you gotta switch seats with me, right? Like, this is the end of my life if you don't. You gotta switch seats with me, and claim that you did, right? And so she does, right? Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, just tell your dad that you need a Rolls Royce and a chauffeur, so you don't get any more car accidents. And so like, they're like, okay.
Damn, dude. How rich was this fucking broad? Was she like an heiress?
I don't know. Yeah, like her family had a Gulfstream, so pretty rich.
Oh, yeah, stupid rich.
So Rolls Royce is small money to them, you know.
Yeah, and then after that, you were the former president and member of the Gay N-Word Association of America. They classify it as an anti-blogging trolling group who took their name from the 1992 Danish movie "Gay N-Words from Outer Space." So what is the GNAA? Is that just a
film?
Yeah, I gotta check that out, dude. That's the year I was born too.
Yeah.
Shout out the Danes.
Yeah.
So what did the GNAA do? Was it just a group of dudes, like-minded dudes like you, working towards one goal?
There's a lot of different, you know, personality types and political affiliations and reasoning in the GNAA. We did have one actual gay N-word in the organization.
You know? Yeah, I think you told me that. You're like, we had one.
Yeah,
we were good. Yeah, we had our bases covered.
So I mean, people just thought it was funny to put racial slurs everywhere. That was like the primary thing.
It's been the funniest thing on the internet since the internet happened. I mean, that and porn is basically what it was made for. Yeah, that and porn is what it was made for. Right?
Yeah. I object to the pornography, and I don't think.
Dude, trust me, I think it's complete junk. Go ahead. What do you say?
But I do think it was made for transmitting as many racial slurs as possible. But it's cool.
Yeah, the porn is complete junk, dude. It's fucking ruining people. It's turning these chicks into OnlyFans and all that nonsense. I did like, did you see that Pornhub took down all the shit that wasn't, because they had a lot of child porn on there, which not a lot of people know. A lot of CP was on Pornhub. And then anything that's not like a verified creator, basically, got taken down a few days ago.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's I guess. I mean, there's still like 9 million videos. I think they took I think it was 13 million beforehand. And I mean, I don't really care. I don't like this argument of, think of the poor victim, poor women. Like, it just doesn't speak to me.
No,
I don't
me neither.
I don't care that there's a difference between, like, to me, 9 million porn videos is equivalent to 13 million porn videos. I mean, anything over some number, right, is just like, it doesn't matter what the fucking number is.
Yeah,
right? Like, so I guess it's good because it hurts like prostitutes, because that was like, seems to be the class that's most heavily affected by this decision, and not like is kind of independent hookers that are like advertising themselves on. So I guess that is a like kind of a small victory.
Yeah, small win, small W for light. Yeah, dude. I don't know.
Yeah,
when this
I feel like they're all just gonna do the verification process.
They're gonna do what? You got cut off there.
I feel like they're just gonna do the verification process and like get their videos back up, like pretty much.
Yeah, probably.
So
I mean
until like pornographers are like dragged out of their homes.
When the fuck did it become sex work is real work? That fucking statement popped up very recently in the world, and it's like, dude, it's not. It's just someone looking to make a buck, dude. Like, yeah. I get it, I guess. I mean, I think it's fucked, but I don't know. It's had its place in society since time immemorial. I mean, there's always been prostitutes. You know what I'm saying? And it's just they have an easier outlet now, with OnlyFans and all that fucking nonsense. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that's another one where it's like, dude, porn has its claws into people. You're never gonna fucking take that one down.
I mean, lots of things had their claws into people, and say Berlin 1932. I don't think that. I don't think it's a valid argument that you're never going to take that as something that has social demand down. I mean, they've done a pretty good job taking political ideas, like start talking about any number of issues in the day on YouTube, and you'll certainly find a hard time. You'll find a hard time existing on YouTube, right? Like very quickly.
Yeah.
So I the idea that you can't just, it's impossible to regulate content on the internet seems facially ridiculous. Like, I've never encountered child porn on the internet. Like, I've been using the internet for like forever. I've never seen it, right? So it's like, clearly it being illegal like makes it hard to find. You have to be looking for it. I'm sure you can find child porn, but like you have to be. Yeah, it's not like just ever present, and there are going to be inherent risks to searching for it. So it's the same thing. Like, we could do the same thing to all categories of pornography, right? And it seems to me that up until a certain year, that the obscenity precedents were pretty on target. And like these people went to prison, and all we got to do is start putting them in prison again, right? We get a little shake up in the courts. If it went one way, it can go back the other way. Right, like it just requires the right social pressure. We could get this all working out again.
Yeah, I guess if you get enough people behind it, but that's the problem, is getting people behind the idea, right? Getting enough people to pressure someone into something. But yeah, same thing, dude. I've been on the internet for 20 years, probably somewhere in the mid 90s. I hopped on, and or 20 something years then. I've never seen child porn either. Now, I've never delved into the Tor browser or the quote-unquote dark web. I'm sure you have in your travels. And even there, it doesn't just pop up, I'm assuming, right? It's not like you're just perusing. And you're, oh, shit,
you don't download Tor browser. It doesn't come with child porn bundled,
an app. It's like, would you like to install the CP app with the Tor browser? Yeah. So Doug Stanhope had a great bit on that, is that fuck, what was it on? It was on his No Refund special. Probably my favorite fucking comedy special of all time. And it was exactly that. It was, he's encountered every type of deviant porn you can fucking imagine on the internet. Never once has he seen child porn. And it was because at the time, I think this was early 2000s, the big thing in the federal government was child pornography is rampant on the internet. And it's obviously them just trying to regulate more. I'm sure it's an ulterior motive. If it was just to get child porn off, God bless, dude, get it the fuck off. That's terrible. But yeah, it's obvious. It's like it's like almost like a Patriot Act thing where it's like, hey, this is for your safety and this, that, and the other. You know,
it might be true. I mean, if you go out looking for it, I'm sure it's there. And I had a friend around that time that that did incident response for like a government agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to her, and she's like, "I'm like, what's the majority of your job?" And she's like, "I go image the desktops of government employees that have been looking at child porn." Right? And she's like,
holy
"That's
shit.
literally 80%." Yeah, she says that's 80% of her job. So, so apparently, you know, there are people looking at child porn. And there's, you know,
maybe just not the layman though. I was watching. Do you know Mouthy Buddha? Have you heard of him? Documentary guy on the internet. He's a big conspiracy guy. He does a lot of like Pizzagate and Shadowgate. He does a lot of that type of shit. He's on BitChute. They took him off YouTube. Those fucks. But he had a anonymous high level like military intelligence guy that was basically like, there is so much child porn. There's like some kind of, I don't know if you know the name of it. There's some kind of like encrypted internet or server or something that the military communicates on. That's separate
it's called
from
Cybernet.
There you go.
SIPR.
He nailed it. And on that is, he's like, it's the most disgusting. They traded his currency is basically what he was saying. Top ranking generals, people in the CIA, the FBI, shit like that. And it's really fucked up to think about, dude. But it's out there. And a lot of people don't even want to acknowledge it because it's so dark. You know, people just blow it off and go, there's no way. There's no way our government's doing that. It's like, yeah, they are. They're cunts.
Yeah.
And you've dealt with them. How is it dealing with the FBI, dude?
Oh, you know, it sucks.
I can imagine.
I think Timothy McVeigh is a hero.
Shout out to Timothy, dude.
I pray every day for Timothy McVeigh's resurrection. I want him back to finish his work.
Finish the job, Tim. What dude, people say that he was a FBI asset of some sort. What do you think of that?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Okay. Maybe it's true, right? Maybe it's some sort of like inside job, right? Mm-hmm. But like the public presentation of what he did is awesome. And that's to me, like, it doesn't matter whether he's a patsy or not. Like, people believe X, right? They believe that he blew up the Murrah building.
Yeah.
There was nothing, you know, he did it because he's a racist and he hated the federal government and he wanted to get revenge for Waco. And if all that is true, then it's awesome.
Yeah.
And because people believe it's true, you should tell them, tit for tat, man. They kill American citizens, and then there was consequences. It's awesome, and God bless them, and I wish people did more of it. And like, if you say that, like, it's it's like that's how to approach that issue with people. When instead of saying it's a patsy, it's like, who cares? Right?
Yeah, even if it was job mission accomplished, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perception is reality. Yeah, dude, him, fucking Waco, Ruby Ridge. I mean, the travesties that fucking took place there is like, and people just, same thing. They just right over their head, just continue their day, fucking get on Facebook. It's like, dude, you are getting fucked in the ass daily by these mother. And like you said, tit for tat. I like that. You want to fucking kill American citizens? It's like Obama drone striking American citizens. You know what I'm saying? Or did he ever do it, or did he just authorize it? Do you know it all?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
Yeah, you're freezing up on me. I was saying it's like Obama authorizing drone strikes on our own citizens. I don't know if it ever happened.
Well, I mean, it's a complicated situation. Then there was a guy who was a U.S. citizen that was in a active conflict zone that was riding in a vehicle with somebody who was slated to die or something. Like, you know, it's like he was part of like ISIS or whatever. Like, it was like, I don't fucking care. Like, I think talking about Obama's drone strikes is pointless because it only fucking resonates with people that are going to vote Democratic consistent anyways. They're like, oh, it's terrible that Obama killed brown people, You know, yeah, like you're the guy that voted for him, and
Yeah.
you're gonna go for the guy that's gonna do the next fucking forever war and kill more brown people. All right,
Oh
like,
my God.
well, great. And B, like, it's just totally a self-defeating argument to like play up to the there's brown people dying in the Middle East. You know, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, it's the same thing when people. I hate when right wingers talk about the Palestinians. You know, it's just like
Yes.
pretending you care is like so fucking disgusting. Like, hey, like, reality is like, have you fucking interacted with Palestinians? They're like the worst fucking people imaginable in the Middle East. They've stabbed everybody in the fucking back that's ever tried to help them. You know, like Lebanese Christians, go talk to them about fucking Palestinians. Like learn what the Palestinians did. Like they started fucking bombing the Lebanese Christians. What's his name, Arafat, or he said the road to Palestine begins in Juna, and Juna is a Christian city north of Beirut. So he was saying like, oh yeah, go kill Christians and try to, you know, do a coup and take a chunk of Lebanon for Palestine to wage jihad. And they betrayed the Lebanese Christians. And they went to Syria. What happened when the fucking like socialists fucking, you know, when the Islamists allied with like the social liberals through their little revolution against Assad. They're all on that team, or they're waging jihad against Assad with ISIS, right? Or look at Jordan, right, where it's like Black September, where they literally tried to overthrow the king of Jordan, who granted them fucking asylum. Like, these people are like impossible to ally with, and that's why the Jewish left constantly talks about like free Palestine. They all like are behind the cause because it's a joke cause, right? Because Palestine isn't a historical nation. It's part of Syria.
Yeah, it's not even a fucking place.
Forever. It's been Syria Palestina since Roman times. It's a neighborhood inside Syria, period. And they've never had a country of their own. And B, they're like incapable of building a state. And C, they're impossible to be an ally with. If they're like a legitimate anti-Zionist thing would not talk about the Palestinians all, except as like, well, we need to return their land and everything in between to the Syrian government because that's who it belongs to. The Palestinians have no right to negotiate these things. It's not their state that they're playing with. B, they're just the most disgusting, like the most untrustworthy people imaginable.
The shady tricksters.
Fucking these wignats, you know, the same people that like march and fucking in the square and fucking stallhounds, right? They're always talking about fucking Palestine as if these people like it's obviously dishonest, for one, to pretend you care. It makes you look fucking greasy, right? Like I don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck. How can you bet? Like, how do you make anybody that cares? Like, anybody that might have any kind of right-wing inclinations, and you approach them being like, what about brown people? What about Muslims?
Yeah, those same people 19 years ago were like, kill them all, dude. After 9/11. And now, just like you said, I do see that a lot with these right-wing people are like, just because Palestine is the quote-unquote opposition to the Zionist state or Israel, they are like, well, you know, free them, give them back their land. It's like, dude, just like they don't give a fuck about us, I don't give a fuck about them. Just like you said. You know, I have a very nationalistic attitude. I'm sick of us playing fucking Team America World Police. Just let them fucking destroy themselves or prosper, whatever they want to do. And just stay the fuck out of it, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Israel does have to be destroyed, but like I don't think like a human rights appeal to the, you know, sanctity of the brown bodies of Palestine is an appropriate thing for anybody on the right to be doing. Israel has to be destroyed because it's changed how Jews outside of the Middle East operate, because they know that if shit goes bad, they can flee to Israel, right? And that gives them the ability to act much more boldly in the diaspora. So that's why it needs to be destroyed. Is because it's a haven for international criminals. That's why it needs to be destroyed.
It's their Allah Shlomo, dude. It's their last fucking bastion. You're right though. They could just go there with impunity and just be like, I'm home free. I'm at home base, dude. Fucking, you can't deport me for sure, man. And
Yeah.
they all get to do their little, what's their little right where they get to go over there? Birthright?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
they get to go
the
for
birthright
free? Of
trip.
course.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yep. Yep.
And dude, how funny would it have been? I've always thought about this. Is if I don't know how true this is, but after World War II, I heard that they had the choice between Israel or Madagascar to give the Jews. And how funny would it have been?
Yeah.
An island of Jews on Madagascar. Dude.
There was a bunch of discussion at the time. There's this guy Theodore Herzl, who's like the founder of the Zionist movement. He said that
Yeah.
there were lots of different options at the time. Like he advocated potentially that they would all just move to northern Argentina because it was sparsely populated and like it had lots of resources and nobody there would hate them, for example. He also said that we could go to Palestine because like it's it's historical and
Yeah, why go there though, man? Why go to the place where someone hates you the fucking most? Right in the Middle
yeah.
East. I
Well,
never got that. Do you have any
yeah.
thoughts on that?
I mean, obviously, there's like certain breeds of Christians that believe that that's required for Jesus coming back or
Oh,
whatever.
like
So
Jerusalem and shit.
yeah, yeah. So they were they it was a way for them to solicit funds and a support base outside of the Zionist Congress and world Jewry. Like they wanted a compelling narrative to deliver to the Goyim about why it was such an important project and why Jews needed to have infinity billion dollars for a Jewish state and
Yeah.
like that.
30 is it, what'd you say, 30 billion?
Infinity billion.
Oh, infinity billion. How much
Yeah,
do we
30
send them a
billion is like
year?
maybe
3?
we
The
yeah we
US just
send
gives them
3.
an allowance like they're fucking
Yeah.
teenagers. Why? It's like, why? No one can
Yeah.
explain it. Why? We're not giving
Yeah.
money to England. We're not giving money to fucking Australia or Canada or any of our other allies, quote unquote. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, well, when you run the show, you can loot the treasury, I guess.
It's fucked, man. It's completely fucked, and it's any outspeak of it is immediately censored or deemed hate speech or this, that, and the. And it's such a fucking easy cop out to be like, oh, you're an anti-Semite or oh, you're a fucking sexist or whatever. And it's like, dude, it's a cop out. The chick in Georgia just did it. Some guy tried to expose that chick. What's her last name? Fuchs, Fuchs. Lynn
Yeah.
Wood, that attorney Lynn Wood, who's fighting with Sidney Powell to get the fucking shit overturned. And her comment back was, "This is a baseless sexist argument." It's like, dude, I'm not talking about your sex. We're talking about how fucking corrupt you are. What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible.
The chat saying, ever notice more Soviets died from Nazis than Jewish people? Yeah, the Soviets got fucking decimated, dude.
Yeah.
Decimated.
Yeah.
And we won't even get into, like the population of Jews in Europe only changed like 400,000 between 40 and 1950. But, we won't even get into that. People say that's right-wing propaganda and they don't believe it.
Yeah. Yep.
Who knows? There's an arbitrary number called 6 million. Anyways, we'll get back to it, dude. So tell me about, your major thing, the thing that got you pinched and set off all this chain of events was the AT&T thing? Was that it?
Yeah. It was terrible, man. It was terrible. I'm just innocently spreading millions of instances of goatse on the internet. Next thing I know, I've been like up all night, like watching goatse scroll because my group name was Goatse Security, and like all the news outlets keep saying goatse.
That's so
like
fucking great.
I'm hearing them learn to say how to pronounce goatse on NPR.
In their monotone voice too.
Yeah.
This morning, alt-right racist Andrew Auernheimer of Goatse Security. And for those of you who don't know what Goatse is, it's a guy gaping his asshole open with both hands, like fucking 10 inches. If anybody Google Goatse if you've never seen Goatse. So that's fucking great. So you basically, Goatse Security, you guys basically exposed something where if you just like if you did like AT&T.com, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you added like the next digit, you could get the customer. It was like a very flawed security thing, right? With AT&T, was that the gist of it?
It was like they had a function that would autofill forms with no authentication based off of a number at the end of URL. And so, like, they crawl this and then give it to a journalist and blah, blah, blah. And I mean that probably would have been socially acceptable, but I did at the same time, like, I associated like multiple Fortune 500 companies with a guy gaping up in his asshole. There's like literally
The
there's
CEO.
hundreds of thousands of people Googling goatse for the first time, wondering about the security of
The
their
guy that runs
iPad.
Goats, he must have been like, "Whoa, this is fucking great! Business is booming, dude. Look at all these views." But yeah, the CEO of AT&T must have woken up and been like, "What the fuck is this?
Wow.
What is this junk?"
It was so fun. It was so fun. And I hated these people so much. And it was just great to see like all these like people that like, the kind of person that would buy, the newest model iPod is on like the week that it came out, right?
Yeah.
And they're getting introduced to Goatse and crying about it on Twitter.
That's
It's
so
still
fucking
fucking
good,
hilarious.
man.
Still
That's
fucking hilarious.
that's fucking good.
Yeah.
And
And
then,
then like I'm literally watching that as like a fucking SWAT team kicks in my door.
oh my god. So you only got 2 charges, right? It was like one of conspiracy, one of fraud, or something like that.
Yeah, it
Is
was. I
that
think it
correct?
was. The first was. I mean,
For
first
what
was
though?
a.
For like, I don't get for what. Like, you exposed their security flaw, made
Yeah.
it kind of funny. I mean, you kind of helped them out, to be honest. If someone more malicious found this, they could have actually done something fucked up with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
then,
mean,
so how
It
did
was
they?
bullshit.
Yeah, like
I mean, it's
how?
just
I don't get it.
there was no legality to the charges. Actually, the Supreme Court is about to. This is pretty relevant to right now because the Supreme Court is hearing a case called Van Buren, and Van Buren's going to decide probably permanently um, the legality of the CFAA, like, and constrain it to where like it would have been impossible to charge me with this in the first place, which is it's good news, I suppose. That a law so frequently wielded for prosecutorial malice is going to finally get reined in,
Good.
because it's just kind of absurd how bad it is. And Van Buren's been um, really satisfying to watch because you can tell how like ill prepared the DOJ is to argue this. I'm familiar with the entirety of like CFA case law, like all the, I've read law journal articles, like everyone ever about this particular statute. And you can tell that the DOJ is in the bad spot because literally they are making arguments that if, like, there is no history of jurisprudence, there's no history of academic analysis. Like they just for their oral arguments at the Supreme Court, they basically claimed that the CFA only regulates like people who have been personally vetted. Like if you have a login and it's like somebody is like, they're desperately trying to preserve the law. They're saying that the standard, they're pretending that their entire history of prosecutions on this is just absurd fantasy. And that's what the Department of Justice is arguing before the Supreme Court. So Neil Gorsuch actually said on the bench that it was a remarkable law that could perhaps make criminals of assault, which is really heartening to hear.
That someone actually gets it.
Yeah. So I feel like it's definitely gonna get constrained.
Now, how would it make criminals of us all? What is like the wording or whatever of it?
Well, this law was defines unauthorized access to a protected computer system, and the protected computer system is explicitly defined as any computer with a network connection, which is literally unless so unauthorized access is totally vague, right? There's an argument to be made that if you don't have like a written letter from a company, right, like every bit of web browsing that you do could violate the CFA, and then the prosecutors can just come in and arbitrarily charge you if they don't like you, which they've of course done. They did this to me. They did this to a woman called Lori Drew. They've done this before. To a lot of people, they did it to Lance Moore, who committed suicide under pressure from the charges. They did it. Yeah, yeah. Lance Moore had the exact same thing, exact same alleged victim. AT&T was the alleged victim. The same. He was prosecuted out of New Jersey by Paul Fishman, the same U.S. attorney, and like he literally could have made the exact same arguments as me, and he could have, he probably would have prevailed on appeal. I don't doubt that
Was
he would have, because it's just, but he killed himself.
was
He
this
never
the
even made it to
guy?
trial.
He was also on that documentary with you where he would smoke cigarettes, and I believe he was a heroin addict of some sort. Is this name ringing a bell at all?
No, that's Barrett Brown. He's a retard.
Yes. No, that's who I'm thinking of. Did he kill
And
himself, or did he just go to prison?
no, he just went to prison. I think he's out now, actually.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was on the
Relatively,
same
like the last
documentary as
year or
you,
two. Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's
So,
just a retard.
yeah, he's just a retard. He's just a retard. Like he threatened the federal agents and their families that were like investigating him.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
that's a good move, dude.
and then
Fucking
he
idiot.
destroyed evidence and all sorts of things. He like really compromised his defense. Like, so whatever legitimacy, like whatever chance he had to stay out of jail, and it could have been, it probably could have been argued. It wasn't like my case where it was kind of that there were like legal arguments to be made that, like, I didn't commit a crime at all. Like, that's obvious.
Yeah.
That accessing a public web server is not a crime. Like, he was probably a criminal, but like he had a chance on appeal, right? But then he like threatened FBI agents and their children, and like that were working on his case. He destroyed evidence. He did all this stuff, and he just like, he made it impossible for him to do anything but plea by just a total fucking retard behavior. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a different. Lance Moore is like, nobody even knows about Lance Moore. Like he killed himself and like promptly was completely forgotten. But he literally had all the exact same circumstances as my case. If he had filed my exact briefs, basically, he could have changed like sentences, and he could have had like a really good chance to get off. But he killed himself, and that was the last anybody ever heard of him. And,
But because he was going to prison, I just Googled him. He was a young kid too, 21.
Yeah, 21. He just had, they totally ruined his life and his future and made him homeless. And, he felt like he had no chance to fight the federal government, and he killed himself, It's
R.I.P. to that fucking patriot, Lance Moore, dude. That's terrible,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
When you drive a 21-year-old kid to kill himself. So yeah, he was a part of LulzSec, it says. FBI arrested him in New Mexico. Oh, so the fucking service for AT&T are in Jersey. So that makes a lot of sense. That's where you were prosecuted, right?
I actually got off, and the question of the CFA.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
was
misread. Nor AT&T servers were in Jersey at the time.
Yeah,
Okay,
nothing.
okay.
So I beat my case because of that, because they had no real argument for venue other than like victims, of like people
I saw
victimized
someone's
by
name. Like, you guys didn't do nothing with it, right?
Yeah, like people victimized by me telling a tech journalist about this bug, because their name was on the list of names that I gave to a journalist. They were alleged victims in New Jersey. That was how they created venue, which is completely unconstitutional, right? Like, it's the venue is a huge thing to the framers. It was kind of a foundational thing, because the King of England, he would it was like literally it's one of the only issues that's in both the Declaration and the Constitution. It's one of only two issues that's in both. It was venue, because people would be charged by the king and they would ship them to England for trial, right? And I was like, you had a pretty significant chance of dying on a sailboat to England, So it was like an 8% chance of death that they would immediately subject you to just by charging you with a crime, even if you were found not guilty. And of course, you don't really get a jury of your peers in England.
And I'm sure they don't give you a fucking sick boat back to America if you're proven innocent. I'm sure it's probably like, figure it the fuck out, pussy.
Yeah. So they would completely upend people's lives, and so it was a core issue for the framers. So it was a very important thing, it was one of the foundational issues. They considered it one of the two most important things. The two most important things were the representation from taxation and venue. What was the core issue? A core individual personal right was venue. That was the complaint to the framers. So that was what my case was decided over. It was because they didn't have venue for this. But in the dicta of my appeals ruling, they expressed a lot of doubt about the legitimacy of the CFA being used in the way, even if they did have venue. But it was easier. The courts always try to decide on the smallest issue possible. and venue was just like way more immediately obvious. They didn't really feel qualified to discuss the intricacies of the CFA. So it was a more complicated issue for them, so they ruled on venue. But it was the same. Lance Warren was the same thing. It had no venue. It had no right to prosecute him for accessing a public web server, and he just didn't make it. Could have filed my briefs. Oh, never plea out. Always go to trial. And I mean, there's always time to kill yourself after the trial, right?
Yeah, you can always kill yourself whenever.
Yeah, you can always kill yourself later, right?
Give it a shot.
Maybe you can take some of your tormentors with you.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, if somebody's ruining your life for no fucking reason, feels like, if you're gonna kill yourself anyway, yeah. they got names and addresses, they got families, So
yeah, dude. Fuck them, man. That is fucked, man. It's we have this illusion of freedom in the Constitution and this, and it just gets fucking shit on all the time in cases like yours and this guy Lance Moore, who, like you said, I've never even heard of him until just now.
Nobody's heard of this guy. I know this guy because he was a personal friend of mine. But like, I don't, if you don't know him, they didn't spend a lot of time crying over.
I just Googled it. You can't find anything on his suicide. I had to search Lance Moore hacker suicide. Nothing came up. It was just talking about him getting prosecuted.
White kid from an insignificant family,
Yeah.
Kid from an insignificant family. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
No.
Unless you fight.
He's not getting the George Floyd Memorial at the Holocaust Museum. There's no Lance Moore Memorial there.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yep. Yeah.
And then, so they sentenced you to 41 months. You got out in 13. How'd you pull that off, dude?
Well, I had, because I'd made such a stink about it, and I didn't really commit a crime, and they didn't have venue for the crime. I had grounds to appeal, and I appealed the case, and, the court sided with me on the appeal, on the merits of the law.
How it should be.
I did. Yeah. But I did 15 with extradition in total, and it sucks, but it's only 15 months, and I would literally there's a possibility that I would have just been getting out of prison right now because they wanted to plea. They wanted 10 years of probation of supervised release, and like if you're on supervised release, then like if they come up with any charge, right? Like then you start all over, and you're going to do the entire term of supervised release in prison, So which of course, like they would have just charged me with something else and put me in prison. That would be the enemy. So I literally, like, if I had been if I had been meek and I had just laid my head down and taken it, I would just be getting out of prison like sometime next year.
Fucking nuts, dude. Yeah, now, what was the max? Like, what were they trying to go? Like, if you lost at trial completely, would it have been 10 years, 20 years? What was like?
No. Here's the thing. Even the max at trial, which I got the max, 41 months under the guidelines was the max.
Oh, okay.
To me seemed like a better deal than the plea, because the plea was 10 years, right, of supervised release, and I think, well, they're going to fucking violate my probie, and then I go to prison for all fucking 10 years, Yeah. So it's like that seems to me 41 months. I look at it, right? I look at
no
it.
brainer.
41 months is the maximum under the guidelines. Like that's, that's 3.5 years. That's less years of my life in under the control of the federal government than the plea deal I'm fucking taking. So I'm like, no brainer to me.
Yeah.
No brainer. Like I think I have a really good chance on appeal.
And worst case, I get 3.5 instead of I fuck up once and it's 10 years
Yeah.
auto. Would they have given you like the ankle bracelet and all that shit? Was it like Die Hard?
No, they wouldn't, because I was like, they wouldn't
check in with the PO and shit.
But like they would have fucking had like, like they said like my terms of supervised release are usually terms identical to bail, and they wouldn't let me like use the internet, right? Like I had to like get permission to get any job,
God.
Right? Like they had to come in when I got a job and like fucking like talk to the people at the job and like try to discourage them from hiring me and like tell them all the restrictions on computer use I have. Like it's like just fucking impossible to fucking live, right? Yep. So I'd rather just do the fucking time, right? And like, and appealing costs them a shit ton of resources, and I might set some good precedent for my bros, and in the meantime, I make the federal government look like shit. It's just that's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to go to fucking trial, you know? That's the thing. Like, people are like scared to go to trial because they're like, well, the feds have a 99% conviction rate. And it's because everybody fucking pleads out. They have a 99% conviction rate because like 98% of people just fucking plead guilty on the spot. You know, like, don't go to fucking trial, man. Like, cause trouble and go to fucking trial. Don't fucking take this shit lying down. You know, like, what are they gonna do? Nothing is possibly as bad as the world you have to fucking live in right now. Like, the dudes in prison are cooler than everybody you deal with in your day-to-day life. That's a fucking fact. That's a fucking fact. So, like, you should absolutely go out and fuck shit up, right? And, like, don't just make them fucking pay. Like, don't fucking contribute to the fucking machine, right? Figure out a way to extract money from the system and don't fucking give anything to it. Like, do whatever you need to do to, like, wage a fucking one-man war upon the machine. Like, if everybody fucking did what I fucking did, it's not fucking rocket science. I refuse to get a fucking job. I fucking extract lots of fucking money and influence and resources from the system, and when they come for me because I'm causing them so much trouble, I make them fucking chew on my fucking iron fucking will. My own fucking flesh gives them fucking indigestion. That's the way to go about it, man. That's the way to go about it. Like, do not do anything unless you can, like, plot in your head how it causes damage to the federal government. That should be your day-to-day life every single day.
You are the spirit of me in this podcast, dude. Fuck yes. Fuck the feds. Do exactly what he just said. And seriously, take the stupid fucking mask off. That's an easy one. And then start fucking shit up, dude. Don't comply with any. He's fired up, says Jimmy. Christina wants to know, is he still in the, no, he's not in the Ukraine, but he's in an undisclosed location somewhere over there. Yeah, dude, fuck them. Do whatever you can to just fuck with them, because everyone, just like you said, with convictions, with even just day-to-day life, they're like, okay, that's the way it is. I'll plea out. I'll put on the mask. I'll fucking stay home. I'll do this. And it's like, just fucking grow a set of balls for a second, dude. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
What do you have to lose? Your job at fucking Kinko's or whatever you're doing? You know what I mean? Like, figure it the fuck out, man.
Yeah.
What a patriot, says Jimmy. No. Absolutely. This guy is fucking full 1776. That's why I love him, man. And it sucks that you can't be in your own fucking country. But do you like it better over there? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, man. You know, like, here is just the almost anywhere in Eastern Europe at this point. Like, your quality of life is like a middle-class person. It's just it's a no-brainer. You should leave America and learn Russian. You know, if you don't want to fight, there is no purpose of being in America other than to cause trouble and commit large-scale crimes. Like, there's literally no purpose. If you don't plan on fighting, then you should leave, right? Like, and I had already done my share of fighting. I have no more interest in, like, it's everybody needs to come up to my degree, you know. If there's a civil war, I'd go back to America to shoot Democrats.
Yes,
you know?
dude.
Like, I got my boat ready, right? Like, I'd fucking drive to my boat. I'd get on the boat, like, I'd hit the shore, you know. Like, if there's a civil war, I'll come back. But otherwise, like, I'm done fighting, man. I'm done fighting.
You've done your share, though, man.
Yeah, I've done my share.
Enjoy life. No one can say you didn't fucking do your part.
So,
the time, literally. You know what I'm saying? Fucking solitary. You told me how fucking bad that was. I mean, I've heard from other people how fucking just absolutely insane it is to be in solitary confinement and how bad it
sucks.
It's not even like you fucked a kid or murdered 5 people. You fucking found a glitch on a website, and next thing you know, you're in the worst punishment that a human being can go through. It's like, what the fuck?
I mean, well, there's a lot worse. But, you know,
well, you know what? As far as, like, unless you're in
our system,
Guantanamo, in the American system, solitary confinement, and was it a Fed prison? I'm assuming.
Yeah, federal prison.
Yeah, in a federal prison is probably about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, private prisons are the worst because they got the worst food, I'd say. Like,
the feds get better food than the private. Well, the private ones. Fuck, not like the feds either, but yeah.
Private ones are the worst, or county jails are like the worst that America has to offer. Like,
I have actually heard jail is worse than prison because it's kind of
way worse.
Kind of like a purgatory, and there's like DUI dads in there with serial killers at the same time, like. It's just a soup.
And also they make the conditions at jail much worse, so you'll plea. Like that's
those
kind of
bucks.
the they want to make it really miserable, so that you're like, oh yeah, I don't want to go back to jail.
Yeah.
Prison's a lot easier than jail. Prison
Yeah.
prison's kind of cozy in comparison. Like especially federally, some in New England, like Vermont state prisons, are really cozy. Way better than Fed, I hear. But
It's like a permanent
but
home for
generally,
'em.
the Fed is where you want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People in the chat want to know, do you have any social media or a website where they can keep up with you? Is the Daily Stormer still around?
Daily Storm is still around. I mean, I'm just like, I don't see what anything is, how I can accomplish anything. Like I occasionally refer to Stormer, but it's like, I feel like that there's nothing I have left to say that is going to change anything anywhere. Like
Yeah.
it's not the things that are happening in the world, like, are obviously like much kind of bigger than what I'm doing anymore. And I'm not trying to be a content creator, especially with just how censored social media is. There is one project. If you guys want Weev content again, there is a distributed social media project on GitHub called Follow, which I don't think is a good name because it's like hard to Google. Let's see if I Google Follow GitHub, will it show up?
It's GitHub's GIT, right? GIT hub.
Yeah. So if you Google follow IOHazard, IOHZRD, this is one of the projects I've been watching, and it's like the farthest along in terms of like a viable model of kind of distributed censor-proof social media. So if it gets enough Bitcoin, I'm sure it'll get finished faster. But if it doesn't, then I'm sure it'll come along. But when this is a little bit more mature, I'll probably be publishing on this.
Hell yeah, dude!
Kind of exclusively. That's
even
the thing.
Even Parler is like fully censored at this. Like not.
Oh
fully,
yeah.
It's
Parler was always censored. And like plenty of people are banned from Parler. They like delist hashtags. It's like a joke. It's like there's not anything that's not rooted in cryptographic identity, right? Like if your identity is a line of code on somebody else's server, then it's like, then you just don't have anything. Right?
Yeah, they got you. They got you, dude.
You cannot. So Follow is good because it's your identity is a public key pair, a public key, two public keys actually, and it routes people directly to you. And when you're not online, your followers will pin your content, will like seed your content in a DHT, kind of like BitTorrent, and keep it online. And so it's a direct one-to-one relationship between you and the person that you want to read. And so there's no middle entity that can kind of fuck with this process. So that's why I believe in this model. There's other like kind of censor-proof, allegedly social media projects, but I don't like them for one reason or another. Like Scuttlebutt's the big one, and it's really not distributed, it's federated. So there's these things called pubs in Scuttlebutt, that essentially become, the potential point of censorship. And they're also like, just like it doesn't really scale, like it doesn't support video, like it's just because the pubs have to host everything. And so, and there's no differentiation in these systems between content that people want and content that people don't want. Like, so with Follow, if you have 100,000 followers, you have proportionally 100,000 people making your content available. Like, content is going to be made more available the more people want to see it. And that's
so it's seeding, like you said, like a uTorrent or something like that. They're constantly. Okay. This is way above my head technologically. I am so fucking retarded when it comes to that shit. But that does make kind of sense to me. This guy's like a professor of the dark web. Do you post? People want to know, you still post on cumtown.org?
I post on cumtown.org sometimes. Yeah, like I do post on cumtown.org. Yes, I'm Weev on cumtown.org. So I am there. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't even been on there. I'm just in the Discord. That's it. I haven't even been on the .org at all. Any good?
Yeah. Yeah, she's great.
I gotta check
Cometown.org
it
is
out.
great. It's great. Yeah.
Dude, I love when Nick shouted you out. It was like, yeah, Weave's pretty cool. He just sends me some anti-Semitic stuff once in a while, you know. I think Details was the one who like brought that clip up to me because it was so many episodes back I forgot about it. And he brought that up like
Yeah.
once we all met, and I was like, man, this is so fucking funny. Did you
Yeah.
stream your Zoom bombing anywhere? Christina wants to know.
No, no. I mean, I want if you want to experience the joy of Zoom bombing because it's really really funny,
It
right? It's
was the
really
funniest
funny.
fucking thing I've ever seen, almost, dude. The one, you know
Like
exactly which one I'm talking about.
it's so easy to find like you can find Jewish groups, Black student associations. You can find every any kind of meeting of any kind of people, right? And all you have to do is go in and say something offensive. And I want you to do it yourself. I don't want you to watch me do it, right? I'm so like I'm not trying to be the nexus of Zoom mischief. I want you. And my thing was like when I'm doing this stuff is like I was way more than with Zoom bombing of me doing stuff is I was providing infrastructure for people that were Zoom bombing full time. I was giving them tools to do what they do and like evade bans, proxy, providing proxies for them, whatnot. And that's way more important work than like me going on, some kind of, some kind of Shabbos for some kind of religious ceremony for Jews, screaming stuff at them
I
and calling
laughed
them rats.
so fucking hard at that video when you sent it to me, dude. It is. It's if you. I don't know how you guys will ever see it, but I hope everybody who
Yeah,
watches this does. It is so fucking
all
funny.
you need to do, all you need to do to see it is do it yourself. There are
Correct. All right,
still
everyone watching,
hundreds,
go out there and do it.
there are dozens of open Zoom meetings every day, and they are all literally exactly the same. Like I stopped even recording these and sharing them with like privately with my friends because it all goes the exact same way, right? I join a
Yeah.
Zoom, I say some offensive stuff, and then like you just see the jaws drop, right? And like,
Oh my god, like the
like
old
these people
people,
just
like
outraged.
it's so fucking good.
And it's like it's just a formula. It's the same fucking joke over and over again. And better than me telling it is you to fucking tell it,
Christina wants to
right?
know
For you to do
where
it
are
and then
these
show
tools.
your fucking
Christina wants to know where these tools are available. Do you have a Zoom bombing beginner kit? Zoom bombing for retards?
literally just download like get on the Zoom app, right? Go look on Twitter, like just search like Zoom Jewish or something, right? Like you can just say, and like start like looking for time slots at the same time. Like you can be like 9 p.m. or whatever, and like you can find something that like is for a time slot you can make, right?
Yeah.
You can use just a normal like program with a calendar, right? You use like Outlook calendar and like just fill in Zoom meetings, plot a day, and then just spend a day like logging into other
Spend a whole
people's Zoom.
day just
Yeah,
fucking with
dude,
people.
just one day, that's all you gotta do. One day of just joining other people's Zooms and making funny comments and getting kicked out. That's all it takes. Like do it as if it's a job for one day, and you'll have experienced the joy of this for yourself. It
Yeah.
just takes a little bit of time on
What
your
about
own
like
part.
what about like protection of some sort? What do you recommend? Like, just using a VPN or anything like that?
Yeah,
Or
so, yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, it doesn't hurt to use a VPN, but
yeah.
it's not like it's a crime to
Yeah.
say the N word on the internet. Like you're not. Like,
Not yet. It's definitely not yet.
legal. It's legal to join somebody else's Zoom if they publish it, right? If they put it in public, you have the right as an American to join a public meeting and say the N word. You can do this. I want you to say the N word on Zoom.
Somebody, one of the dudes who makes photoshops for us, make a fucking poster of Uncle Sam with Uncle Weev, and I want you to say the N word, dude. Someone do this. Fucking Evil Sam, Torelli, one of you guys, please. That would be unreal, dude. Yeah. So just fucking go out and do it. That's how you start the fucking movement. To just fuck with people. Is just
Yeah.
that's a great point. Get other people to do it instead of enjoying his Zoom bombs.
Yeah.
Online Frank Castle. What does that mean, Christina? What
Oh,
is
you don't
Frank?
know Frank Hassel?
No, I know him.
Oh, dude,
No. I know him, but what is she talking about though? Like, what about Frank? He followed me on Twitter out of nowhere. I guess he used to be in the Come Town Discord many moons ago, but I never talked to him. But yeah,
I don't
seems like a
know.
funny guy, and I think he's
Frank
from.
is a genius.
I think he's from my neck of the woods. Is he from like Sam Hives
Yeah, he's
area, like Southern
from like New
Massachusetts?
England.
Yeah,
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 somewhere
yeah.
around there.
Yeah, I don't know how he
So
found
he's
me, but he's fun. That's the new shirt. That would be yeah. Oh, here we go, baby. SkiMaskCollective.com. We got the offensive shirt, dude. Shout out to the 1960s or 70s Boston busing riots. That's a patriot right there, dude. My
oh,
mom
dude, that's a
lived it.
fucking
My mom lived
great.
it. And what are we saying? It's a great what?
Yeah, just a great moment. It's so good. And
Whoever
you're starting to
captured
see
it.
that shit at IRL again.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's
coming,
getting
man.
good. It's spicy. You know?
It's coming, man. We need more. We
Yeah.
need more of these Bostonians, and less of the fucking pussies that go to the colleges around here that vote fucking straight Democrat. We need more of the old school Bostonians like myself.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean,
I hope so
I
too,
find
man.
like a lot of fucking unions. Like you wouldn't think this snap these days, but even cop unions still fucking vote. A bunch of them still fucking vote Democrat.
I don't.
It's like
I've talked about this
people.
ad nauseum, and
Yeah,
I don't get. So I was born and bred in Boston, and the average person is me, like
yeah,
more or less. And then you look at the fucking numbers, and it's like 80% Democrat, 90% Democrat. And the only thing I can think of is that these older massholes, they still think that the Democrats are the Kennedys. You know what I mean? Like my
yeah.
grandma.
They still have the brand of like the party of the labor. Which is not
Exactly.
true.
It's unions are
But
huge here, and they all. I mean, my
yeah,
mom told me before I pilled her. She told me not a few months ago. She goes, "Well, aren't Democrats for poor people?" And I'm like, "Mom, you need to sit down. You need to have it." I swear to God. And that's what most people think is like they still think it's the
yeah,
Kennedys, and the unions have a big thing to play in it. And my father drilled it into my head early that unions are not a good thing, and I don't like them
definitely.
whatsoever, man. It's a good.
Yeah.
It's just like anything, like socialism, whatever. It's a good idea in theory, but it gets completely corrupted. It's completely fucking. The big dig in Boston has taken 30 years. It's still going because they're like, we're just going to keep getting paid. If we just sit here and just fucking sit on our brooms, we're still going to be caking in that money. So let's drag it out. It's all politics. It's all fucking gay. And a lot of my buddies are in unions. That's the career path here is like military, cop, or join a trade union. That's usually the paths of a Bostonian guy. But yeah, it's just that perception that they're the Kennedys, which was I think that was the downfall of America was 1963, man. I think that was it.
Yeah.
He was the only Democrat I really liked in history was old Johnny Fitzgerald. My fucking grandmother had a portrait of him like a Kim Jong-un in North Korea. She had a portrait of him in the house, and so did many fucking family. It's like, dude, they're royalty still. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I actually, before Trump, the last election, the last thing I did was vote for a Democrat. I voted for Howard Dean in the primary years ago.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. Well, he was running a pretty populist thing, and he actually said something where it was like, he was like, I want white people in the Democratic Party. And like the backlash to that was like, that was when I knew, like, wow, the Democrats have really left me. Like this guy's saying, well, I want a coalition of everybody, including working class white people. And the party establishment and the media did everything they can to sabotage him. With that with that screen tape was like, that was absurd. Like they hated that idea where I was like, well, like why shouldn't we listen to the concerns of white people? And that was the point where I'm like, wow, this isn't a party for me. Like I have no future with the Democrats.
See, the Republicans too, man. It's at the point where you see what they're doing right now, and you're like, we need a new party of some sort. I've heard whispers.
No, we just need people. We need people to die. That's the fact. There's no third party that can't equal. It'll just become a spoiler party, right?
Yeah.
Like we need people to be physically punished, immediately punished so hard that they're afraid to pull any shit. If they're like, you'll know things are getting fixed when the blood flows in the streets. No blood, no salvation. That's the basic message of Jesus Christ. Like
Amen.
People
Praise
need to
him.
learn it. No salvation without blood. There must be war. If there's no war waged on the establishment, you get nothing.
Yeah, Michael Malice had a great quote where when the citizens are afraid of the government, it's tyranny. When the government's afraid of the citizens, it's liberty. Right?
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
So there's not any finagling. We're gonna have some third party and it's gonna work out peachy. You'll get some.
I mean, I thought I was a libertarian for a while, and it's just like that ship has fucking sailed too, man. I don't even know anymore. I'm just I don't know. I guess a nationalist is a fucking patriot, dude. I don't know what you want to call me. It's just I'm at the point where none of it makes any sense. Does Weev
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Trump? Okay, so let's address this real quick. You can buy this shirt at skimaskcollective.com. And term limits on Congress and Senate seats. Yeah, of course, term limits. These fucking zombies, dude, 90 years old, serving 50 years with impunity. And then Alex Redmond wants to know, does Weev think Trump can cross the Rubicon? Oh, is that Jefferson? Oh, that's Malice quoting Jefferson. Excuse me. Thank you, poor Rob, for correcting me. I thought it was Malice. Do you think Trump can cross the Rubicon?
I mean, it can, right? Anybody can cross the Rubicon, right? Like you can cross that in your day-to-day life. Like, can Trump cross the Rubicon? Yes. Is he gonna? I don't know. People aren't doing the things that are necessary that would give him cover to cross the Rubicon. There's a, like nobody's out. The courts are ruling against Trump because this stuff weighs on judges' minds. If there is popular discontent on one side, let's say one side of a ruling will result in people rioting and destroying things and burning down cities, and the other side will kind of like be a return to order. They're very likely to side with the side that with the
Yes.
ruling that will like return things to order. And what Trump supporters have given the message of is like they're going to follow the law, they're going to accept any outcome, right? Like there's been no like
It's just peaceful marches in
awakening of the
Washington.
Saxon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you have to send the message that your side, if it doesn't get its way, will result in the greatest amount of destruction, chaos, lawlessness, misery. That if you don't get your way, the whole fucking world's gonna pay for it, right? You have to say, I'm going full Samson. I will bring the house down with all of you fucking in it. And if you don't send that, if you send the message that, well, you're not really going to do anything if there's a Joe Biden presidency, then guess what? You're going to get a Joe Biden presidency.
Yeah, I agree,
So,
man. As sad as that fucking is, it's like you do need to take up the rioting, looting, burning, killing, beating side, or else nothing will get done.
We need artillery. We need
And
shelling.
that side, the quote unquote Trump side has all the fucking weapons, dude. They have all the toys,
Yeah,
but they're the most
all they
disciplined,
got
I
to
guess.
do. Yeah, all they got to do is go use their toys, right?
Yeah.
That's all that has to happen. But if nobody does anything, if nobody gets the party started, what room
Man,
does Trump have to move?
that's a great fucking point. Is that like because once I saw them ruling against him, I was like, how he put three of you motherfuckers in there, and the black guy,
Yeah.
Clarence Thomas. Have you seen what Biden did to this poor motherfucker in the '80s, wherever? I mean, he's got a grudge, or he should at least. I would if I was him. That's just fucking human instinct. But yeah, and then you're like, whoa, why the fuck? He just gave you guys all this lifetime appointments. You don't have to side with him if it's not right, but there's obviously something there. You know what I mean? And for them to just go,
Yeah, I
nah,
mean,
nah, and that's a
what
great
are
point
they?
that it's going to be.
Courts are conservative, and that they try to want to like keep the peace,
Yeah,
right? And one side says, well, if we don't get our way,
Thomas was
there
the
will be
only
no
one that
peace.
said, yeah.
That's no. It was also
Thomas and
also
one other guy. It
Alito.
was two guys.
Alito, the
And you
Italian guy.
figured Kavanaugh,
The two black guys.
the dumb broad, and the two. Hell yeah! Shout out black guys for fucking dude. Black conservatives do rule. They're some of my favorite people in the world. Are black conservatives. They're the best, dude. So they sided with him. Yeah, Clarence Thomas and the other guy, and then who? The broad Kavanaugh, and who was the other guy? The original Supreme Court guy he appointed. What the fuck's his name?
Gorsuch.
Gorsuch, was that it? Yeah, that was the first one early in his presidency. Yeah, they all were like, nah, fuck him. I think it was like 6-3 or 7-2 or something. John Roberts was on
7-2.
Epstein's flight logs. Not good. Fuck John Roberts. But yeah, dude, that's a great point where they're like, what is going to be the least ripples of effect? It's because they let's say, okay, they stole the election. All the people on the left are all pumped that no, nothing happened, nothing to see here. Now, if they overturn that, that gives them the right in their mind to just be like that. You thought the fucking George Floyd riots were bad. If they overturn that Biden presidency, these motherfuckers are gonna go bananas, right?
Yep.
And they'll also have the George Soros backing to, you'll see pallets of bricks and fucking pallets of this and that showing up at all these cities to fuck shit up. And yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Do you think it will get overturned? What do you think?
I mean, there's just there's no basis by which it can be if people aren't doing anything. Like Trump needs some kind of play, right? Yeah, like you can't just elect a president and think that everything that your job is done, right? There's other things to do. There are things that you can do kinetically as an individual. There are things that states could be doing. They could be like, all trying to secede, right? But right now, Trump has no cards, and nobody's giving him cards. Nobody's giving the impression that if when Trump leaves office, that there's going to be any kind of consequence for the fraud. And if there's no perception of potential consequences, then of course judges are going to be like, yeah, we can't like burn the country down, right? Like it's
that we won't have our fucking
so
jobs anymore. We won't have our
yeah
awesome seat on the Supreme Court.
yeah.
Lifetime
So
fucking appointment.
I don't think they're doing it out of jobs. I think they legitimately kind of want to keep the peace and the public order, right? They believe in the public order for its own sake. And there is kind of an argument to be made there. Like,
Yeah, you can kind of see
society,
why. There's no like
society's unstable, people die, right? And atrocities happen. It sucks to be in the middle of a civil war, right? Like now, like I like talk to people from the Balkans. Like, wanting to avoid widespread civil conflict is a valid view.
people will die by the thousands if it's an actual civil war. So it's not like there's some malicious intent for them being like, nah, fuck it, throw it out. It's kind of just like you said, just to kind of keep the peace
yeah,
amongst people. But
yeah.
do you think we're headed for a civil war? I don't know anymore.
I don't see any.
Me
I
neither.
bet totally against. We have one more month to see if people are going to do anything, and I'd bet against it. I don't think people are going to do anything. I think that people are just going to, accept slavery and accept the institution of a new kind of neo-Bolshevik movement, and they're going to suffer the consequences of that. And like the window to resist is kind of closing. We have one more month to do it. I don't see anybody doing anything. I see this kind of fading out and nothing happening. But I would love to be pleasantly surprised. Right?
Same here. I've been very
But
pragmatic, like you said at the beginning, where I am expecting the worst, like you said, a Bolshevik type movement, which looks like it, but hoping for the best. I would love to wake up one day and see some good news.
yeah, definitely.
But
Would be
yeah,
nice.
and these guys in the chat talking about it going to the Senate. It's like even that faggot Mitch
Yeah,
McConnell
whatever.
was like,
Yeah,
it's not, it's
that's
not,
not real. No legal. There's legal processes are done.
yeah,
People can either make it very clear that there would be consequences for spurning Donald Trump, who is our legitimately elected president. People will make clear that there will be consequences for that, right? But if they don't show that there will be consequences from the public very soon, then there will be no like no the Senate hearings are a joke, right?
yeah,
Of course, they're going to just rubber stamp what's already happened. There has to be a perception from people on the Hill, right, that there's going to be like violence and chaos and just like it will destroy the public order, or dissolve the union. They have to view consequences, and they have to view them now, or there's just no. Of course, they're going to side with keeping the public order. These are attorneys and politicians, right? Like that's a reality. That stuff weighs on their mind.
yeah. I don't. It's pretty dark right now, brother. I'm pretty black pilled. Yes, buddy. Weev still lives in Eastern Europe. He's in undisclosed location in Slavic land. Dude, I might be joining you there fucking shortly. I probably
Yeah,
picked the worst time to have a child, right before all this fucking bullshit lockdown started, and it's just been getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, what kind of fucking world is my kid? I mean, I've had about 30 years. I've had a good run. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's fucked. Weave's thoughts on
yeah.
Texas GO chairman, quote unquote, black guy, calling for secession. He just said that. He said we need to call something needs to happen that drastically where states are going to secede from the union or
Yeah,
the
they need to
realm.
like be holding quick, rapid secession. Like they need to be doing it. They can't like be like, well, maybe we should do. No, you have to do it,
Yeah.
right? You have to do it now, right? Yeah, they have to see the process happening. They have to see the union dissolving before their very eyes, and
Yep.
like there's no actual movement towards that.
Yeah. I love these fucking lefties in the cities too going, good. These red states have been a drain on us for too long. It's like, are you out of your fucking mind, dude? You think these
Yeah,
guys in
well,
Texas and the Dakotas and Arkansas and fucking We're Alabama, the people that are like, fuck that. You think they've been a drain on New York, or do you think it's been the complete opposite? You
Yeah.
dumb
We have
motherfuckers.
the oil and we have the corn. You know that without corn, the United States actually doesn't have enough calories to like wave off famine.
Yeah.
Like
We'll be eating those
you never
cricket
think
burgers
about that,
real
right?
quick. If
They can eat the bugs.
Yeah.
I'll have some nice corn on the cob, and I'm sure you will too. Um,
For sure. Yeah, dude.
so
When I see the bug shit in like Agenda 20, I'm like, fucking dude, I will die fighting that. No, I'm not. That's too far. That's where I draw the fucking line, is eating insect burgers and getting like a daily allotted government allowance of calories per day. And fuck, dude, it's fucking bizarro world. Norway does look promising. I agree with that. They do a decent job up there in what's it called? Norway. The Sweden's kind of gay, but I guess like by these polls, Norway and them are like the highest quote unquote quality of life in the world. What do you think about that? You think they are or no?
Norway is the Saudi Arabia of Europe. Like they have massive oil and gas revenues. They hand out huge grants to any citizens for opening a small business, or even if you get an art degree, they'll pay you hundreds of thousands of euros for your art. So it's pretty easy to have a high quality of life when you have a pretty white population base and you pay them all massive amounts of money.
Yeah,
so
everyone's chilling over there. They're just happy, smiling, blonde people. They're just high on the horse over there.
It's not good for you as an immigrant because you aren't a citizen and you aren't getting oil and gas revenues, and the cost of everything is inflated because of the oil and gas revenues. So I would actually strongly recommend against moving to Norway. It's not like you can't just look at, unless you're rich, right? But if you're rich, there are better places to move.
Yeah. But for the middle class, normal, average person, Eastern Europe, you think is the play?
I think, well, yeah. I mean, there's lots of plays. It depends on if you speak other languages or.
Now I'm retarded. I speak English and broken Spanish. Where should I go?
South America. If you can, well, try to learn Russian. But this part of the world is very hard if you can't learn a new language.
Because they're not like these European countries where they all speak English. I'm sure they're just like, fuck you, speak my language and get the fuck out.
There's much lower English penetration, and people that speak English don't want to talk it with you. They don't care that you have trouble with Russian. They don't empathize. They believe it's their country and you should speak their language.
I agree with. I have the same thing here. It's like if you can't speak a basic amount of English to converse with me, then just fucking get out of my face, dude. What are you doing here?
Yeah, but it's not necessarily a good place for you to go if you're just South America is like the best. If you speak some Spanish, you don't see yourself picking up a new language.
It's just those fucking predator symbols that Russians use, dude, are pretty intimidating. It's like Mandarin Chinese to me, where I'm just like, I don't even know how I'd surmount that. You know what I mean? They say English is the hottest language. It's like bullshit.
No, it's a very easy language. Yeah. Everybody learns it easy. I mean, if you look at like the language difficulty scales, Russian is up there. It's like Arabic is harder, Hungarian is harder.
Yes.
But Russian is considered a difficult language among linguists.
Yeah, anything that's not like that Latin base of like English, Spanish, Italian, French, where you like, because you'll look at those languages and go, oh, that word looks familiar a lot of the time. And then you just look at Russian or Arabic and you're just like, I don't even know where to begin with this fucking shit, dude. This is Wingding's text to me.
Well, other Slavic languages like Serbian is actually pretty much easier than Russian to learn, and that's not a terrible place to go. But you are going to have to learn Serbian to survive there.
I do have some of my Sicilian relatives that I'm assuming just based on they all started adding me on Facebook when I still had it. Years ago. There's a lot of Serbs, not Serbians, Argentinians and Brazilians with my last name that, look Sicilian. They didn't look. And I'm thinking, I'm assuming some of the old Fens family was fighting on the Axis powers and might have migrated down to South America back in the day. Big Italian population down there.
If you're Italian and you can prove line of descent, Italy, I believe, is a just sanguinis country, which means blood can get you citizenship. Italy? That's another thing to consider. Yeah, Italy.
Maybe I'll go to Sicily, dude. Fuck them.
Yeah, so that is something to, if you are eligible via a just sanguinis nation to get citizenship somewhere, that's a big part of the calculus. That's much It's much better to be a citizen of a country than as an expat than a resident. Usually.
Yes, for
so
sure.
it's I would actually advise you to try to get Italian citizenship and go to Italy if that's possible.
Yeah, but they're part of the EU. Wouldn't you just be fucked over there too, or no?
I mean, I would be, but I don't think you're like an international criminal.
No, I'm just saying the way it's heading, where the EU looks like New World Order light to me. That looks like step one to, you know.
Yeah, I still think that there, like if you get out in the countryside in Italy, like there are plenty of places that just are dirt cheap that you could buy an awesome house for like 30,000 euros that like have your kids will go to school with like zero undesirable demographics, right? Like they're still like it, like of course, like there are cities in Italy that are, you know, that are filled with bigger.
Why do you think the Vatican has fucking walls, dude?
Yeah, but like. I mean? Like there are places within Italy that are fucking awesome, right?
Oh,
and plus,
gorgeous,
if you get any EU citizenship, you're not just bound to Italy. There are a lot of countries that will, you know, that you could go to, and you're not. You could go right next door to Slovenia, and they have no problems. I can tell you that. So, like driving into Slovenia from Italy, like when you cross that border, is like it's like leaving the fucking ghetto and going into the nice neighborhood.
Really?
You know? Really, it's fucking.
Is it?
It's way nicer.
Slovenia is what? That's northeast of Italy. Yeah, so that's way up.
Yeah. So like it's yeah. Oh no. It's way better. It's way better to just get Italian citizenship if you can get it.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, we've been fucking going for an hour and a half. I know you're a busy dude. I fucking appreciate you coming on, man. This has been great. You're the fucking man. You got anything to plug? I mean, you kind of just chilling. You don't want to be followed on anything. Just that GitHub follow.
Yeah, go look at that project. Send the guy some money, maybe. You know, it's currently I've plugged it a couple places. I think it's received $0. So,
well, that's nice. Well, break out some money, you cheap fucks.
People should send him some fucking Bitcoin. You know, like it's pretty important for your freedom and your future.
Hell yeah, dude. So what we're gonna end on is Zoom bomb people, attack the federal government. Go to fucking GitHub and give some money to follow, and go to fucking patreon.com/Ski Mask Collective. Give me fucking $2 or more so I can move my family back to the motherland, dude. So I can get the fuck out of here if the Civil War kicks off. Oh, you frozen? You there? Hello?
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
I cut out a little bit there.
No, we're good. All right, so we'll end it at that, brother. Thanks again for coming on. We appreciate you, bro.
All right.
All right, later, man.
All right. Have a good and good talking to you. Bye.
You too, man. Peace.